welcome back to MTR Network Super Tuesday Recap. It's your host, Kriss here, and my co-host, Dpalm. We are here to talk about that finale, man. Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., Season 4, Episode 22. World's End. With the surprise emergence of Ghostrider, Coulson and the team attempt to stop Aida from ending the world. What a fucking episode, man.
Well, someone asked, could you ever really perfect hour-long genre television? The answer is a resounding yes. A resounding yes, because for the entire season, really, and this episode obviously stands alone as another highlight, but they really, really, really mastered telling an emotional, action-driven story that never slogs, that moves at a crisp pace, that answers all your questions and leaves you begging for more.
So you just sent me an image of LeBron James literally mushing Isaiah Thomas in the face as he goes to dunk on him from outside the paint. But this is like what I think Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. just did to to Flash last night. Like Isaiah Thomas is the Flash, who had had a great episode,
great year, but
LeBron is Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., literally mushing the face as they go around doing this. Like, that is... And I think the captain said that this isn't fair. No, last night wasn't fair. It wasn't a fair fight at all. I mean, it's just... the way, and you gotta remember, it's not a full hour. So it's not like... or even close to like what they do with HBO. Like, I've always seen people complain about like HBO when they're watching Game of Thrones and Game of Thrones ends with like 8 minutes left, so it's only 52 minutes of the whole hour, but there's no commercials. Right. Like your normal hour-long TV shows are usually only 42 minutes.
Right, exactly.
All right, because of all the commercials and stuff like that, it's 42 minutes. They crammed all this. I'm gonna go through all this. They brought back Robbie. They brought back Robbie. They handled. They did the whole thing of bringing back Mack and Yo-Yo from the framework. They dealt with the end of the framework. They dealt with Talbot and S.H.I.E.L.D. and the Russian and what he was doing there. Like, they had all these things going on here, and they did it in 42 minutes. They defeating Aida. All that, 42 minutes. It's fucking outstanding, guys. And it never felt crammed. It all felt together. Bringing Robbie back in the last episode, in this episode here. I mean, he technically came back very, very at the end of the last episode, but bringing Robbie back, it brings the entire season together. It brings that first arc they did with the Darkhold and his uncle Eli. You bring him in at the end of the season to wrap everything up together, and with him being the one that needs to stop Aida because he's literally a creation of the Darkhold, like it brings everything full circle. It literally closed the entire season to the point
closed Agent Carter season 2.
That too. That too.
That's how batshit crazy that hour was.
That too. Like, you do all this to the point that I'm like, if they didn't they had to bring Robbie back. When I look at it like now, I'm like, of course they bring Robbie back. He had to come back for this. And they did it, and it made sense. And it worked. And it was great. And the Hellfire chain, man.
Yo, I don't tell you, dog, like, that was an hour. Like this, I'm going to let you lead the way because I'm just going to chime in and just celebrate because I could just scream for an hour because...
So here's
Hellfire chain. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
The fighting the robots, like the way he moved, the way he fought, the fighting without going Ghostrider.
Well, that's the thing. So that was the thing that got me. It was like, so what they showed you was they showed you a Robbie who has literally been through hell and back, who comes back and has a few more tricks up his sleeves. Like, because he wasn't fighting like this at the beginning of the season.
He is really, like you said, not only tricks up his sleeve, he's reached an understanding with the demon.
Mm-hmm.
Because accessing the power without going Ghostrider.
Yeah. Yeah. And it like, dude, I love that. I love seeing the evolution of him, you know, basically coming to terms with what he is and what he has to do. And yeah, man, it was fucking awesome. It
was
great.
Amazing.
There's, well, I'll say that for last when we deal with what happened at the end. Yeah, man, I love how they do it. I love the fact that you also see here's something that they've done with this season that they did quietly, and they kind of did it in this episode. They've established the fact that from now on in the MCU, the entire MCUs, LMDs are a thing now. Not just Aida and a few here and there, because there's at least 2 new models that we have never seen before.
Yep.
There's the one that was the guy that went to the UN or wherever they were that got Anton in, but then there was a security guard that was also one. Then they have, and this is something that I noticed last week, and I didn't say anything. I knew I should have. When they put Aida and Fitz in the containment unit, part of me was like, weren't there a bunch of Daisy bots in there? And I was like, well, maybe they got destroyed.
I was like, where'd those bots go?
I was like, oh, maybe they got destroyed. And I was like, well, you know, the entire base did blow up. Maybe they got destroyed. So I didn't think about it. Yo. Because they destroy her, that one bot, but there was a whole shipping container of Daisy bots. So now you have a bunch of Daisy LMDs out there. You have a bunch of however many. Anton's still out there, still making, you know, a bunch of LMDs and whatever. Like, they've now seeded the entire world, the entire MCU, of the fact that if anybody dies or anything happens, you can always reveal that they were an LMD.
Right. It's brilliant.
It's a brilliant move.
They grew the universe in this season.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing that the show has really done. It's done very good in mining the universe and taking pieces and taking parts and expanding them. This season right here expanded the universe.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, it just, yeah. So all that makes sense. But anyway, go back to the beginning. I love the fact that Fitz is still beating himself up. And when Simmons is talking to him, so he's like, hey, you don't want my solution. My solutions only make things worse or end up getting people killed. And then Simmons is like, hey, you know, at this point, you know, killing Aida is what we need, so we kind of need the solution.
Someone killed is the idea now.
Right. And then she goes, do you even want to kill her? And he never answers because they get interrupted. But, you know, he kind of does, though. Because at the end, and again, it's the same thing they did last week with Fitz, is you kind of are on the fence about where Fitz is standing and where Fitz is. And then, you know, throughout the episode, you see he makes his choice, and it's not even really a hesitation. And then you feel stupid for even doubting him, right? Because he says, you know, he doesn't answer that question. You're like, oh, maybe he does still care about her. And then when you have that scene with him and what you think is Simmons and Aida there, and you're like, well, maybe he doesn't want to kill her. Maybe he wants to just go with Aida. And then you see that no, he was always down with the plan to have Aida killed, and went along with it. And again, you got to give Ian credit the way he's acted throughout these episodes. Like, he's able to play, and this is something that I think all the actors and actresses on Agent Shield are required to do. You're required to play multiple versions of your character. I mean, you just have to. Every single one of them has had to, you know? And, you know, when required to do that, they pull it off. And it works.
Time. And every one of them.
And every one of them has had to do it. It's like, we used to always say this about Brett Dalton as Ward, but he was just the beginning. I mean, we forget just how much and how many different characters, you know, Daisy's played. You know, she started off as Skye. Now she's some badass. Started off as a hacker. Now she's some badass agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. with superpowers. She's a goddamn superhero. You know? So, Mallory Jensen is playing masterful the last 2 episodes.
Really, really, really impressive.
Like, that scene with her, Fitz and Simmons, and just the way she reacts, like, that whole scene is just, I could just watch that all the time.
Yeah.
You know, it was just great. You know, why do we feel better when we make others suffer? Because something's wrong with you, psycho.
He's a broken ass toaster.
I mean,
what are you talking about?
I mean, when you watch it this episode the second time, you then know that, hey, that Simmons is an LMD.
Yep.
And if you ask where they got the LMD from, remember they had a replacement for it, but they never used it. So when they blew up the base, you know, it's probably still there. So you had so you don't know at the time that she's an LMD. Second time you watch it, you know she's an LMD, and so you're watching to try to see if there's any behaviors and fits to give it away. But I'm gonna tell you, when Aida stabs that what you think is Simmons, that Fitz screams, oh, you think it's real.
Oh yeah, it feels real.
Oh, it feels real. You know, it's like, yeah. There is a couple things there. When they first start and they're talking before Aida shows up, he goes, "Did you bolt the door?" "Of course I did. What do you think I am?" That's what Simmons says. So they threw in little things like that for you to pick up on the second watching. I love that Fitz is trying to tell Aida. So she goes, "Now I know why all the people have written all those sad songs." And Fitz basically tells her to pick up country.
Yeah.
Well, that's what you can do. You can just pick up country and you start doing, you know, it's fine. We can just do that. And you pick up a guitar and start singing about how the only man you would ever love left you. Like, do that instead. It's like, no, I want to feel suffering, you know? And then the other thing that kind of sells it, when, you know, Simmons is, you know, yelling at, but the more that Aida pushes that I guess it's a screwdriver into her, you know, the more like you'll hear Simmons say, "Do something, Fitz. I don't want to die." And then she said the last thing she does before Ophelia like electrocutes her says, "You did this, Fitz." Those are the last words that LMD utters to Fitz. "You did this, Fitz."
You know what's crazier?
What?
She says that to him when it's LMD Fitz.
Mm-hmm.
The exact same line.
Mm-hmm.
Really, the writing on this show is just so tight, and
yeah.
it's really well done. It blows me away, man.
Yeah, it's just great. And then you see how much he was acting, because later on you see him step over that LMD and like it was nothing. You know, it's just like the acting they did on there. Oh, and then the kiss she gives him when Aida gives him when she tells him, "I'm gonna kill everybody in front of you and make you, you know, so you have to watch and suffer." And that loving, like, psychopath kiss she gives him on the cheek before she teleports
I know
away.
She's an actress and I know it's a job, but she played it too well.
It's great, man.
I'm holding this performance against her.
Yo, I don't ever want to be in a press room with her, yo. No. I'm immediately going, no, sorry, can't do it. Like, it was masterful, man. It was so good, so well done, and well acted. So let's see what I have in here. I'm gonna get into the Russian a little bit later because I want to talk about that later on. Talbot. I love. Coulson tries to tell him what happened and who killed his men. He was like, I can't go with him with that. That doesn't make any sense. I have a cybernetic hand. I've been to other planets. This stuff happens in S.H.I.E.L.D.
Not wrong. at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a succinct answer. That makes sense. I'm also glad they didn't kill him because, like, I'm not gonna lie. When LMD Daisy walked in with a gun and just popped him in the head like that, I was like, but I like Talbot. Like, he's so over the top. He's sometimes corny, but like
he's Principal Belding.
Yeah, you need him though. Like,
you do.
You need him on the show. I need him. Like, but it kind of goes also to what the way they planned this and what the Aida and Anton the Russian were planning. Like you said, they basically planned a new Cambridge event.
Mm-hmm.
You have LMD when the rest of Shield realized it was like, well, it's not just that Daisy is Shield; she's also an Inhuman.
She's the most high-profile Inhuman in the world.
And you have the news come out that Shield they find out that the autopsy on Mace was leaked, so he wasn't Inhuman. You had the idea that Shield, Anton was telling the rest of these people that Shield was the rest of the country that Shield was breeding. He made it sound so much like not just making like Inhuman soldiers, breeding Inhuman soldiers.
Yeah.
Like there was a breeding factory of this. Like they're literally making them into living weapons. Like he was selling it up to make them afraid. And then you have Daisy walk in and shoot Talbert. Like, yeah, it's gonna start a war. That's how you do it. So, but I like that Talbert's not dead. But also you kind of take him off the board for a little bit, so he can't be there to kind of advocate for Shield and for Coulson and them. I like that. Let's see here. One thing I want to know is, because he's still around, what is the Russian building? Because every time you see him, he's packing something up. And he keeps building new models. Like, what is he doing? And I love the fact that by the time the season ends, he's still going to be a factor. Like, and this is something that I think was good, because I remember when they first introduced him, they first showed us Anton and revealed that he's really after Coulson. We were all kind of like, all right, the season's been really good. I like this, but the reveal of the Superior really wasn't doing anything for us. And it got better. But now it's like, now you take it to another level. You now have a guy who's literally making LMDs. His head is in a jar somewhere. He's basically on his Futurama, but he's somewhere that we don't know, making copies of himself and directing copies of him. Because unlike the other LMDs, it seems like those other LMDs, while they don't look like him, they still all are him.
Yeah.
So he's basically like a master mold.
You're right though.
He's like, yo, if you kill this body, I'll just make more. So wherever he's at a place where he can continue to make more LMD bodies. So again, that's why I'm like, LMDs are now in the world now, and you've taken a guy who really came off as like this weak sub villain in the Superior, to now like he is a legit problem, a legit threat now. And we don't know, he's somewhere out in the world, and we don't know how to stop him, and apparently, Aida kept her promise and removed any of his program and said that he couldn't kill, and he had to protect. So, yeah, they managed to take a guy that we weren't really that high on and turn him into something that, that's a problem. And the great thing about it is you don't even need to keep the same guy. Like, this actor, you don't need to keep him, because now he's an LMD.
Seems like a pretty ready-made antagonist for Inhumans.
Right. And that's the other thing too. He hates Inhumans.
Yep.
And so you've made a literally almost unkillable force that can be played across in any medium now in the world. And I love that they did that. And they don't answer that question. Like, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. is one of the shows that does a really great job of this. They seed things for seasons later on, but it doesn't feel so forced. Like the way they did that this episode, where at one point I'm like, oh well, maybe they did kill him and he is gone, and I was like, wait a minute, that's just another one of his bodies. He's still out there, and we don't know where. Like we have not seen his head in a jar since the first time we saw it, since before we came back from break.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so he's out there, and that's gonna be a fucking problem. That's all we need to know. It's gonna be a fucking problem. Let's see. Let's go into Fitz and Yo-Yo. I mean, it makes sense that Yo-Yo's at the Triskelion, and again, a small little throwaway line they put in there when Fitz is talking to Simmons about what he did and how he experimented on Inhumans. Talk about it was people we know. It was like Lincoln. It was Gordon. It was VJ. Well, he knows Yo-Yo, so it makes sense that Yo-Yo would be in the Triskelion being waited on to be experimented on. I was like, wait, why? Where is she? Why would she be locked up? Like, well, asked and answered. Like, they answered, again, once again, Agent S.H.I.E.L.D. is answering a question that I'm going to ask, but I didn't know at the time when they gave me the answer that I was going to ask. Had it right there. Okay. Got it for me. All right. And so with everything else going on in this episode, and with all the action, everything else going on, like, they managed to throw in this heart-wrenching, just emotional subplot here with Yo-Yo trying to get Mack back into the real world.
Yeah.
And, well, goddamn if it wasn't. Got kind of dusty, man.
So the cynic in me says, you introduce this character at the back end of Pod 1. You explain who she is in Pod 2, and you use that quick introduction and like limited scope and the view of a grieving father to create a being in Pod 3 that we immediately feel attached to and remorseful for when we know they're going to leave. Mm-hmm. That's the cynic in me. The person who watched the show was like, you can't like leave his daughter. Like, it was very well acted.
Here's the thing.
And the scene where he's holding her and telling Yo-Yo he can't leave, and you as the viewer see he's not holding anyone anymore.
Dog, listen. Bruh. Listen here, man. I have it in my notes. You can see when hope disappears when Mack is holding nothing but himself.
Right.
Because you can see. Because he's telling her he's not going to let her go. He's telling her all this stuff. And they cut the way, and again, the way they cut it, the way they did it, it's so good because you all of a sudden notice, you're like, wait, her head's not there. He's not holding anything. And, oh, man, and like Yo-Yo sees it, and then he realizes it, and bruh. Like, it's so good. And again, even like the way they did everything with his relationship with his daughter, with Hope, the relationship with him and Yo-Yo, and the way they developed that, like that came into us last season, right? And we were just like, oh, this is kind of cute. They're kind of flirting with each other. That's okay. And then like they learned each other's languages and started talking to each other. Like, I love the fact that she's no longer talking Spanish, guys. She just hasn't. She's learned English so much faster than he's learned.
Yeah, but he tried though.
He tried. And you have this theme on the show of loved ones going to the greatest lengths to get their loved ones back. You know, at this point, Yo-Yo has pulled a Fitz, and where Fitz jumped through a portal to pull his loved one back. Yo-Yo has gone. Elena has gone into the framework, a collapsing framework that's being deleted as she's there, to pull her loved one back from the brink. And I remember when we talked about this and we were like, everybody's in the framework, and I remember you even saying it's like, yo, Mack's gonna be the one that stays in there, and he's not gonna leave his daughter, and it's gonna be so gut wrenching and hard. At the end of all of this, when you really, really think about it, Mack is the one that comes out on top.
He got a life with his daughter.
Mack is the only one, when you look at the framework and how it worked, everybody else is coming out with baggage. Everyone else is coming out with something that they're going to, like, at one point, like, again, and she didn't live in the framework. She went there to try to get people out. even Daisy's like on some, it's going to take me years to come to terms with what I lived and what I experienced in there. She wasn't in there for as long as the others were in there for. But all of them have this bad stuff, like May and Fitz have all this stuff that they have to deal with. They have real live people that they end up, they're dead because of them. Daisy has to deal with the idea that, she was paired with Ward and this goodness in Ward that was there. And Simmons literally saw the evil side of Fitz. All of them have this negative stuff. What does Mack have? Mack has basically 10 years of memories with the daughter he wasn't going to have before. Mack is a living embodiment of what Radcliffe wanted the framework to be.
Yep.
He is. Before this, Mack got closure. Everybody else did it. Everybody else is going to take them longer to get closure and have an understanding. Mack got the one thing that what the framework could be used for, which is getting closure. He got a life, and now he's able to move forward with Yo-Yo and look. Maybe I can start a future with you. Without the framework, Mack might not get there. We had that small conversation with Yo-Yo before about hope and stuff like that and what's going on with them, and how he felt. And now after having all these memories with his daughter and seeing what it would have been like to raise her for that time, Matt can move on. He can be happy now, which again, that's just something that the others just didn't have. And so, man, when you first tell us what's going to happen, we were like, Mack is obviously going to be the one that's going to be the hardest one to pull back from their framework because he's going to have his daughter there. But in the end, he's the one that comes out on top.
Yep. You're right. 100%.
Comes out on top. So, yeah, it's great.
So he's on top, but he also had to live watching his world start to vanish, which would fuck you up mentally.
Oh, don't get me wrong. There's going to be some stuff you have to fuck up with, but he also got the time with his daughter, and he realized that wasn't real. So, and unlike everybody else where they did things that they're not proud, like even Coulson, turning kids. Coulson was a snitch. He was snitching out kids to Hydra,
Yep.
What did Mack did? Mack basically did whatever he could to protect his daughter. And then him getting pulled out of the framework, he had a loved one come and sit there with him, basically like, you know what? If you're gonna die here in the framework, then I'm gonna be here right with you. And so, yeah, I mean, like I said, it's gonna be something you have to come to terms with, but he's in so much better of a spot than everybody else.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. Speaking of coming to terms with feelings, awkward May and Coulson coming to terms with their feelings.
Or at least getting closer to it.
Yeah, getting closer to it. Like, oh man, Robot May was way more supportive.
Yo, that was hilarious. Coulson, that's one-liners this episode because I assume we're going to talk about the Daisy Ghostrider team up.
Oh yeah. We're gonna get to that.
But him, I missed it, didn't I?
Yeah,
you two together. He's just a nerd like us.
Yeah. Coulson, he's like sometimes he plays that Cisco role where he's like he responds the way we are as the audience and as fans, and it's just fucking great.
You know what we don't talk about a lot on the show? The range of Clark Gregg.
Yeah, you're right.
He really is able to turn a scene in a phrase. He can change things from the fallout from how do you come down from the adrenaline high of watching Quake and Ghostrider fight together? You get him with a quip. Who on the show can give the quip and still be believable and still not have their image shaken? Phil Coulson. Come on down.
Well, this also goes back to what happened in season 1. Remember, was it Victoria Hand that basically called out Coulson on him being the funny quips and all this stuff and not being not taking things serious enough, right. From season 1? And then we find out that while he does that, he's very serious and he does things. And again, we'll talk more about that at the end here, but he takes a lot more weight than people give him credit for, but he still has tried to have fun. So again, that he comes in, he's like, I missed it, didn't I? I missed the he still finds that time to be Coulson, even though the weight of the world is on his shoulders and all this other stuff is going on, and literally they're going to be back on the run. Like the end of the episode when they're like, "Hey, man, they know we're here. They're coming after us. Anybody hungry? Let's go get some food. Let's it's just he's the leader. Like he knows what the team needs, and when it's time to get serious and be dead serious, he's dead serious.
Sightseeing, time to get back to work.
Right. He knows what it is. He knows what's needed, and he does it. And man, it's fucking great. Yeah, so let's talk about that because we kind of jumped over a little bit, but they don't skimp on the effects, and they haven't pretty much all season. And I can't even say that the effects are just that much better because of the season finale, because I mean they stayed at a high quality for the most part throughout the season. Like they do a really, really great job. But man, from that scene of the slow motion in the beginning with Robbie trying to hit Aida with the Hellfire chain, and then she teleporting out in slow motion as he jumps up and does it. You got that scene, him taking out the robots with the Hellfire chain. This scene the scene with Daisy, where you get the Daisy and Ghostrider team up, which the Coulson.
You mean better teamwork than we've ever seen out of an X-Men movie?
See, I wasn't gonna say it, but yes, you're right. Yes.
Someone had to.
Somebody had to, and I'm glad you did, because yes. Like the Robbie Daisy team up, which I also feel like there's chemistry there. So hopefully Robbie comes back. I think they did a really good job with that. Yeah, man, it's awesome. Even down to when Robbie says at the end, it's like, oh yeah, no, I don't need you guys to make a portal. I learned a couple things too. I'm like, is he gonna do what I think he's gonna do?
Right,
bruh.
They
didn't do a tie-in with Guardians of the Galaxy because they didn't need to. They didn't do one with Doctor Strange.
Or did they?
Huh? Or yeah, you're right. Or did they? You're right. Talking about just an out. Well, no. Talking about one during like what they used to do, which is when the episode comes out.
I knew what you meant. I had to say that.
No, but you're right. Because even then with the Doctor Strange, they didn't do an outright one with Doctor Strange. But everything with Ghostrider has basically been Doctor Strange tie-ins. So down to the fact of Robbie using the chain to basically do the same thing that the sorcerers did with their sling rings and trying to get to open up portals to different dimensions. And to travel. That's literally what he does with his Hellfire chain.
Yep.
Literally the same thing.
They use the exact same animation as the Doctor Strange.
Same thing. Which also, if we talked about this a little bit with Doctor Strange and Ghost, they're all in the same world. And even Robbie says this when he's talking to Coulson and I think Daisy's there, where he's basically like, yeah, it's all connected. Like, what you call hell isn't necessarily hell. It's different dimensions, different worlds. Everything's connected. It's all part of a larger thing. And he's kind of warning of a larger thing going on here. Like, everybody talks about, can we see the Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. in one of these shows? You might get Ghostrider. Like, Robbie might show up at some point.
Right.
Like, Robbie might show up in Doctor Strange too. And it would fit with everything we've got on here. With the Darkhold. And where is he taking the Darkhold to?
Yep. Away.
Yeah.
Back to Johnny Blaze's basement.
Right. So yeah, man, I love what they did this season of just being confident. Like, hey, listen, we're gonna tell our story. It'll tie into a larger universe, and whenever I see, nobody ever asks about it anymore because it so is. Like the cuffs are off, and they're doing what they want to do, and they're telling their story, and it's fucking amazing. And I love how they did it, and the effects that they did it, and they're not skimping on it, and I think this is fucking great, man. It was awesome. Let's see here. Coulson Rider, yo.
I've heard worse plans. Like, I was like, how are they going to get Aida near him? Because the Russians already warned her that this hellfire can hurt you. That's how you do it.
You don't understand team. Like, there were just so many things from Simmons showing up and unloading into Aida, and you realizing that it was an LMD that Aida killed. Great way about great, like you said, great fake away from there. Like that was just perfectly done. To Coulson basically like, oh yeah, no, you think he's not here, but no, he's here. And then having Aida try to teleport away from him, and then teleport through different places. Again, just wonderful. And then the image of her being burned and just like the whole everything they do with Ghostrider when it comes to animation and the animation of him turning into Ghostrider, him burning people is always done just top notch. And man, with when Coulson turned into the rider, it just felt so fitting. It was just so great.
It was perfect.
Now here's the question.
It was a great callback to them giving the rider to Mack.
Mm-hmm.
It was just really, really, really well done.
Yep. Yeah. It just. Whew.
And I love that with like all the excitement and fun things they were talking about, but the theme of the season of the show really, living is suffering.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that at the end when Fitz wanted to turn himself in, Daisy pointed out the less like very much nail on the heady, but kind of very like classic Whedon-y, where they spell out the moral.
Yeah.
You can't fix things alone.
Well,
you know people who trust you and you trust to do it together.
Well, even beyond that, it comes full circle from what she basically telling Fitz not to make the same mistake she made, because that's what she did in the last season. She ended up doing some things that she didn't like. She ends up getting Lincoln killed, but it's not her fault. It's not because of she was in control, but she blamed herself. So what did she do? She ran. She ran from the people that would have helped her and would have been there for her. And she's basically telling Fitz, don't do what I did. And even beyond that, remember, Fitz is the one that kind of brought her back. Fitz is the one that told her earlier this season, it's like, yeah, you ran from your family. We would like go back to the beginning of the season and because again, it's 22 episodes, so it's easy to forget. But her and Fitz had this conversation when Fitz said, you abandoned us, you know? And so here's Daisy looking at Fitz going, don't make the mistake I made.
Yeah.
I ran away. I did. I can tell you right now, it didn't work. You need to be around the people that care about you. We're all in this together. Don't run away from this. Let's all do it. And it's like, again, like you said, the speech really on the nose and bring it together. But I think that when you have a 22 episode season and you span this month, sometimes you got to need to be on the nose to kind of remind people.
Yeah, to remind you, you're 100% right.
Because honestly, I had forgotten. Because as soon as she said that, I was like, oh shit, that is right. Fitz is the one that basically told her, it's like, well, you did abandon. It was kind of cold on her. Like you forget it because right now we're seeing Daisy fully back in the fold and as a SHIELD agent and 100% in. We forget that first Ghostrider arc was basically her being, no, I don't need to be back. And them asking her to come back.
Dark eyeliner and hats and on the run.
Right. And then also remember, and that's the thing that got me too, is like, I forgot that so many things you forget at the beginning of the season. Now, I need to watch the entire season again. It's going to be on Netflix apparently next month. Cause I forgot when last week when Yo-Yo was screaming at Daisy about what happened to Mack and what goes on there. I forgot how close they got because Yo-Yo was the one that was giving Daisy the drugs to help her with her because of her quaking powers were breaking her bones. I forgot that it was Yo-Yo helping her. So it's like they've always been a family. They've always been there to help each other. Yeah, I'm not going to ban. You can't abandon each other now. We can't do that. No, so we all go. So yeah, man, that's great. So
I think it was great what they did with Radcliffe.
Oh yeah,
because it was good because it's a reminder that he hasn't all and while he was used as kind of like a red herring villain for a second there, he's not evil.
No.
He thought what he did what he thought was best, and like most villains in Marvel, he was wrong, dangerously so, but him toasting to a sunset that he created and then being erased from existence is a pretty fitting end.
Yeah. I like how, because, it turns out that, it ended up being this way. We got great send-off for Radcliffe. We got a great send-off for Trip. We got a great send-off for Ward. So we never, again, always had those ideas, those crazy ideas of, you can bring people back through the framework and we can do this and we can do that. Like, can't put any, again, not saying that it's all gone and it can't ever happen, but the chances are it wasn't and it won't. But if we, and if it doesn't, we got great sense of it. Like, we never see Britt Dalton again. Ward got a full arc. We closed his arc. Same thing with Trip. We closed his arc. There were things that they weren't handled before, and they're handled now. Granted, it wasn't a real world, but you get the character arc that you needed to kind of get some closure as an audience member. And then here with Radcliffe, you get Radcliffe, like you said, toasting goodbye to a sunset he created. So yeah, man, I thought that was really well done. What do you think the deal is that Coulson made with the writer?
I think it's a great way to make me really want to watch season 5.
I love it because they did it twice. They were like, you know what it costs. You know what it's going to cost you. And Coulson's like, when are you going to tell the team? When I need to. And then when he tells Robbie, I don't envy you, and then Robbie's like, well, I don't envy you. And then May's like, what are you talking about? I'm very interested in seeing what they do with that and how that goes there. So, yeah, that part of me goes, does it have something to do with the fact that technically Coulson died and was brought back?
Yeah.
Ooh,
that's a good point.
Maybe, he has a limited amount of time, and right at some point, Robbie's like, at some point, we got to come back for you or something like that because technically you're not supposed to be alive. So, I don't know. And maybe that's why he doesn't tell the team, because you spend as much time as you can with them. I don't know. So, that'll be interesting to see here. The end of the episode. What'd you think? Theories on who it was?
It was the plan.
Yes.
This was their escape hatch.
Because of Piper at the beginning of the episode.
We take this mission that takes us to space.
Because here's the thing. The very, very beginning of the episode, they kind of tell you. You're missing somebody in the episode. Piper. The red shirt that survived.
Right.
They say that
she knows what to do if we don't. Nicely done by you.
She says that they say at the very, very beginning. Like, it's literally one of the first things I said in the episode. And again, you got, this show is so good at sneaking things in there. So Piper Hilo jumped out, and in case something doesn't go our way, she knows what happened. We have a limited window. Which is literally what the dude says at the end. We have a limited window to get them out. Piper knows what to do. I think wherever they end up, however they end up in space, has to do with whatever mission Piper was sent on. Because you don't see her at all ever again in the episode, and nobody ever mentions her again.
Good eye.
Oh, dude, when they said it to me first, and the end of the episode came, I was like, I got this on the first watch. I was like, wait a minute, whatever happened to Piper? Because I wrote it the first time I watched an episode, I don't write notes. Usually, my notes for the second episode. I sat up, opened my laptop up, and I was like, where the fuck is Piper? And I just wrote because I was like, no, you can't just throw that shit in there and not. So I had to write that down. And yeah, that's where I think it came from. Like you said, I think this is all part of the plan. S.H.I.E.L.D. is now based in space.
there's a mission that only they can do. I'm excited for it. I hope that whenever we get our next season of Agents, it opens with them landing on Earth.
Well, here's the crazy thing. So apparently there's been the showrunners are talking about what's going on. They did an interview with IGN, and they were basically like, it's not a one off. There's a time jump between when you see Coulson and when you saw him in the dimer. There's a bit of a time jump there, and it's not just like, oh, we're in space and we're gonna come right back. It's like it might be a significant piece.
Well, I think it's interesting because with the reports of the movie, I'm sure we'll discuss it lightly at least a little here. Also, reports of a budget cut, and a good way to shoot around a budget cut is to have a lot of your sets be walls, and hallways.
Yeah. Yep. So, yeah, I'm very excited to see what they do here and what they go here. So, let's get into some of these emails here. Let me wrap some of this up. So, let's see here. This is from Herocious. He says, okay, so no one we care about really died on this episode, so congrats, guys, you're not to blame. No, I'm not counting Hope. She was a computer program. Things I have to wait for in 2018. Why? Midterm elections, because that was when it occurs when we not have a snap elections in this country. Atlanta, because of Star Wars, which is very understandable. May all good things happen for Donald Glover. Westworld, because writing about a robot uprising is complicated. Not sure why. Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. did a really good job of it, but okay. Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., no good goddamn reason why. No damn good reason why. I had to wait until March of 2018 to find out what happened to why Philip J. Coulson is in space. Have a great show. Enjoy your break, because according to AppleCare, I'm getting 22 episodes in a row come March 2018 on a Friday night. Is it March? Did they come out and say it's March? I know it's going to be 2018.
No, I think it's the 6-week run of Inhumans or 8-week run of Inhumans. Then we get this.
Yeah, because I've seen it's either 8.
I'd say probably we'll get 4 to 6 episodes before Christmas break.
No, it's definitely 18. So they confirmed it's going to be early 2018.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
because on the back half of the.
Yeah, because I think Inhumans is either 8. I've seen 8. I've also seen 10 episodes, but it's not a full season. So Inhumans is only a limited run. So Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. will come in after that on Friday night at 9. So I don't think we'll be waiting until March, but it is still getting a full 22 episodes. So there's that.
Really?
Yeah, still getting a full 22. So it's getting a full 22. It's going to be Friday at 9 o'clock. And it'll start after Inhumans is over. So probably I'm thinking after they come back from break. So I'm thinking they might come back in January.
Yeah.
I think they'll start in January. Because remember, they shortened the break this year where they came back like middle of January with Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. So if Inhumans starts in September, I think was September 1st, something like that. If Inhumans starts in September, they run 8 weeks, give or take a few because of holidays and things like that, 8 to 10 weeks. You'll be ready for Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. to start in January. So I don't think it'll be we're definitely waiting until 2018, but we're not. It's not. I don't think it's March. I think it probably be before then, unless they come out and say it. I like I said, I think it'll be a little bit sooner than that. Let's see here. What else we got? Here we go. Let's see. It's from Billy. Says. The last 10 minutes of Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. has left me broken. I knew the scene of having Hope taken away from Mack was coming. I still was not even remotely ready. Yeah, I don't think anybody was remotely. Well,
no one. I called it weeks ago and I wasn't ready.
Yeah, no, it's still a tough scene. P.S. Secret Empire 2 came out today, and holy shit! Oh yeah, I can't wait to talk next Tuesday, with everybody about Secret Empire, because oh my god, Captain America is evil and his Hydra is a Nazi now. All those people were surprisingly quiet today, man. Surprisingly quiet. Oh man.
Real silent.
Oh man, just weird. I don't know what happened, man. It's almost like they were completely fucking wrong. Wanga. This show is the only one I wake up early for before work. What a great episode! End of another great season. Ghostrider throwing the chain around his shoulder like a gymnast ribbon. He'd give a scorpion a run for his money. The way he ripped that LMD apart and had Aida scared. Yeah, she was again, just the acting on the show. Her showing fear, was great, and fear, and not fear. She talked about it before about the fear of dying, but you really saw her now that the fact that she could be hurt, because even when she talked about she was afraid when Fitz told her to go back and help her save her friends from Anton. He talked about, I'm afraid of dying. I was afraid of that. It was a fear of, being shot by May, but she knew she could survive that because she had the powers. So while it was a fear, it really wasn't like a real fear. This was real fear. Like, she was like, why am I not healing? Like, yeah, that was done really well. As soon as Mack hugged Hope, I knew she was gone, but it's good to see him and Yo-Yo made it out. The scene where Fitz and Simmons had me going, and then you see Simmons unload on Aida and Fitz wipe the tear away like it was nothing. They're good. Yeah. Fitz did wipe away the tear like I'm like, yeah, maybe Fitz does have still a little bit of that evil in him because he changed his emotions so quick in that scene. Like,
yeah,
like that was a change like LMD Fitz. Need to get those LMD detectors back up and running, guys. I'm just saying. Wonder if we'll see more about where Robbie went. What was the deal with Coulson? What the deal with Coulson made? And I guess we're in space now. Have a good one. Yeah. I love that they left us so many options and so many questions that need to be answered for next season. CX says, hello, Kriss and Dpalm. Wow, what a great episode. The reason why I watched this show, great writing and fantastic performances. Coulson does it again, and what about the Ghostrider special effects? Yeah, they're just fucking great. Quick thought, May is such a great character. Didn't you love the ending where she says, if there's a price to pay, we pay it together? That's a great scene where Daisy, May, and Gemma said, it's all about the team and family. Yeah. I mean, for all the stuff about, May being the cold one and being too robotic, I mean, she's like the mother of the team. Coulson's the father. I mean, that's the nuclear family they got there. Right. Last thought, don't mess with Gemma. The girl can handle a machine gun. Just keep the shotgun axe away from her. That if there is one complaint, there wasn't enough shotgun axe in this episode. And that's the one thing too. They killed a lot of robots, and Mack wasn't involved. And how Mack feels about killing robots. So, thanks for a great podcast. I know the amount of work it takes. Just know that it's really appreciated. Love to hear you all. Love to hear your thoughts, and I can't wait for your podcast each show. On season 5, your take on the scene with Coulson in space. Like I said, let me kind of said it. Like at this point, I don't know. I mean, we're gonna have we'll probably get more information around Comic-Con time. Maybe probably New York Comic-Con time, because again, Inhumans will be the big thing in San Diego more than likely. But yeah, they're being kind of tight-lipped on it. We don't really know. Like I know we were talking on Twitter about it today that it can't be Sword. And I think they've kind of already, somebody already came out and said it's not Sword. Sword it should be owned by Fox still. But it doesn't mean that they're not trying to rebuild S.H.I.E.L.D. by putting S.H.I.E.L.D. in space because, hey, look, like you said when we talked about Guardians of the Galaxy, Marvel's fully committed to the cosmic. So it could be that S.H.I.E.L.D. is now getting off of dealing with threats on Earth and looking forward and saying, hey, there are other threats out here beyond this, which kind of goes back to what, if you think about it, because here's the other thing too, by moving, a lot of people are getting a little worried because they're moving Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. to Fridays at 9 p.m. Right. It's not going to be on the fall schedule. Here's the thing, remember, what's a thing that comes out next year in 2018, guys? Infinity War. It's going to be huge. You're bringing everything together. If you want to have something that, and again, think about how they did this season where they tied into one of their properties by fully committing to themes around that property. So in this case, you had a full season that kind of revolved around the idea of magic and other dimensions, which is basically Doctor Strange. If you're going to deal with
even Robbie teased it by saying other dimensions, other planets, and then Coulson and Daisy shared a look when he said that.
Yeah.
Hell can be lots of places, and take lots of forms. Like that, you're right. They did kind of, going back and watching it, they did kind of tip his cap a little bit.
Right. So Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. going forward and moving that way, it might not be. Because here's the thing. I kind of was wondering how they were going to handle the fact that before, we were already talking about renewing this season and and what the ratings were for Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., they had kind of already announced that they were going to do Inhumans starting in September, and it was going to start with the first 2 episodes debuting in IMAX, but then come down to ABC TV and be a TV show. So when that happened, I was like, well, how are you going to be able to do that and Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. at the same time? I doubt they'll run them both concurrently. So them running Inhumans first and then having Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. pick up after Inhumans is done, I don't really see them trying to move Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. out to cancel Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. I think it's part of their narrative story that they've been telling. I think this is all part of their plan. You know, this is one of those properties that, you know, it's, you know, ABC is owned by Disney and Disney owns Marvel, and like I just don't see it going away anytime soon. Like if this is the last season, they'll probably tell them, hey, this is gonna be your last season. Do what you guys got to do, and go from there. And they'll allow the writers to close it off and do what they have to do. But the funny thing about it is this episode would have served as a great end of Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. if they had to. Yeah. So, I mean, they would have done the diner scene, and then kind of fade the black. And then you could always bring those characters back in movies if you needed to, or other properties. So, but, yeah, I really think that we'll be fine. And I think that by moving it to January, whenever they start, let's say they started in February, you get a way to tie it into and kind of set up and build up what they're going to be doing with this, you know, Infinity War. Because remember, in the fall you have Inhumans coming out, then in November you have Thor Ragnarok, which also seems like it's going to be dealing with the cosmic
space. Yeah.
You know, so it's just like I feel like that's what we're going with here, and we're going to be dealing with. You know, again, if you haven't seen Guardians of the Galaxy, go out there and see it, Guardians of the Galaxy 2. You see that they are fully committed to the cosmic, and this is something new. And I really think that, yeah, I'm really excited to see what they do here. So, yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about it. Remember, when they moved to the 10 on Tuesday, we thought that was a bad thing. To me, seeing them move it to Friday at 9 o'clock, and we know that they care about DVR numbers for this show. Come on, like I think we're.
What
good.
they're doing is they're trying to prop up Once Upon a Time. It's a show that's losing like 3 out of 4 leads, and that show is floundering. They're able to move Black Issue Tuesday, which is a big move for them. But I think that they have more faith in the Marvel property than do Once Upon a Time, and it feels like I guarantee Once Upon a Time will try to be a lead-in for agents to try to get some of that audience, and it's not going to work.
Yeah, well, because the thing about it is, you got to remember the way the people that watch Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. are gonna watch. You know, if they don't watch it that night, they're gonna watch it on their DVR. Like that audience might not be there for Once Upon a Time, and do that. So yeah, they have a very and there was a very vocal Renew Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. campaign online. That got back to the creators, and that's why they thank the fans. So you're the reason why we're getting another season, because you guys wanted this to happen. And you've seen that, like NBC canceled Timeless and then came out and was like, all right, we're going to uncancel it. Like these things happen. You guys can save shows by being vocal about your watching habits. Which, you know, are we done with Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
I'm wrapped. I have nothing. I'm just emotionally spent from even talking about the episode.
Yeah,
They didn't kill anyone, and it was more emotionally impactful than the show that we just reviewed.
Everybody we wanted to live, everybody we care about lived. You know, even Talbot lived. You know, Talbot. You know, he got shot in the head, and still he fucking lived some kind of way. LMD Daisy is a terrible shot. But yeah, but no, this idea of you saving yourself, like, you know, I'm gonna talk real quickly. You know, everybody saw all these hot take articles about Black Panther and the crew got canceled. And oh my goodness, Marvel doesn't care. It's like, listen, guys, we've been saying this shit. If you like a book or you want to like a book, you gotta buy it. You gotta pre-order it. You know, it's very, very easy to pre-order. Look, I guarantee you can go on to Amazon, put the name of the book in there. Like, I hate hearing people go, I didn't know how to get the book. You can go to Amazon, you can put the title of the book in Amazon, and you can pre-order the trade paperback for Black Panther and the Crew right now. It won't come out until I think September, but you can order it now. You can go out there right now because they're not canceling this book right now. It's going to get a full 6 issues. Probably should have just started as a miniseries to begin with. But
no, I'm not going to blame Marvel.
Oh no, I'm not even saying. Look, not even blame. Look, you can still buy it. You can all these people saying, oh, it was the most important Marvel book out there, and they're canceling because they don't care, and I didn't even know. You know now. You know now. So let's see next month when the numbers come out to see if everybody who was talking about how, I didn't know. Let's see if you guys all buy the book. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, the answer's gonna be fucking no. Because a lot of talking going on from people who aren't going to buy the book. It's so fucking simple. That number 1 didn't even crack the top 50. That book's going to get canceled, guys.
Yeah, because it's what your number 1 is generally your bestseller. You anticipate a 35 to 40% drop from 1 to 2, and a 30% drop from what they sold at 1 is unacceptable. It's under the threshold of survivable book.
And I don't want to hear about how I didn't know, because I know we talked about that book. I remember when it was first announced.
Black Panther, so people were saying, I didn't know I should. No. 1, yes, pick up the books. But 2, if you have a local LCS and you go in there and you say, hey, man, is there Black Panthers in? Or, hey, did you guys order? Just walk in and ask how many they ordered of something. Because they will tell you a low number, because that's how Diamond does their numbers. They determine how many issues are sold because they say how many issues are sold to wholesalers. Your individual purchase doesn't really matter that much, but putting pressure on your local LCS saying, hey, I'm excited for this book, being vocal about your preferences and asking for special orders and asking to make sure things are ordered in enough quantity so people can get it. Things selling out's a good thing because obviously they get to move their inventory. Things not selling out's a better thing because that means they ordered more from Marvel.
Yeah. Like I said, there's so many other ways you can do it. If you don't want to go into your local comic shop, Midtown Comics, you can sell. They sell pre-orders online.
Yeah.
Like I'm sorry, there's just I need.
There's too many ways to do it for me to feel any kind of way besides. And another thing is, Kriss, and I want to just say this: you and I are vets in this game. We've been reading comics for a long time. Are there a lot of comics that you've read that you're really disappointed didn't get a longer run?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think also part of it is people are new to this.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of newcomers who aren't used to watching, wait, that book was creatively fulfilling. Why didn't it continue? Because sales are king.
Why do you think Marvel Unlimited exists?
There's a Young Justice issue after both Superboy and Impulse get canceled where they had the character, Superboy and Impulse, at the dinner table staring at Robin.
Mm-hmm.
He says, what's wrong, guys? Why are you guys staring at me? Well, because both of our favorite comics got canceled. Yours did.
Right.
Like they make fun of themselves not because they were creatively bankrupt, because it just didn't. Those sales didn't hit anymore.
Yeah, like the excuses I've seen from people, they don't hold water. Like they don't.
It's people who don't know what they're talking about parachuting in to this, and I get it. You want to be involved and you want to support the culture, and I respect and understand it, but like take some time to understand what you're talking about first.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I've been seeing people blame too many events and too many. It's like none of that shit matters. None of that shit is why this happens. Numbers are down across the board, and this. I remember when Black Panther and the Crew was announced, and if you've been reading, here's the other thing: if you've been reading Black Panther, you've known about Black Panther and the Crew because they put a fucking advertisement in it for everything. They people go, I didn't know about the books. Well, are you reading current comic books? Well, no. Well, that's why you didn't know. This is not like TV. This is not like movies. You're not going to sit there and be watching TV and all of a sudden they go, hey, did you guys know Black Panther? They don't run advertisements like that. You need to go out and you need to be a little more proactive if you want to be a comic book reader. Now, if you don't want to be a comic book reader, that's fine. But I also need you to shut the fuck up. I need you to stop talking about this stuff because you don't know. It's like, oh, yeah, Marvel canceled. They don't really care. Well, what comic books are you buying right now? Well, nothing really, because I'm beyond Marvel. I don't really read that stuff no more. Well, then you don't give a shit.
They don't have an opinion.
Then don't.
And that's fine. I don't have an opinion on books I don't fucking read.
Yeah, just don't. It's fine.
Hey, what are my thoughts on I can't think of. What are my thoughts on Weapon X, the new X-Men book? I have no fucking clues. I don't read it because Greg Land's doing the art.
I mean, and again, this isn't me saying that you need to go out there and buy every book out there. Hey, look, if a book, there's there's plenty of good books out there. Like I've been hearing good things about the Black Bolt book. Issue 1 came out. Haven't read it. If it gets canceled,
I like the author. I haven't read it yet either.
Yeah, if I, because here I understand. Look, I got a limited budget too. I can't buy everything. I can't go out there and buy everything. I got to make choices. So if I can't get, I try to get the number ones. Like I said, I got the number 1 of America. You know, I haven't read the stuff yet. That's how how do you think I got 4 issues of Mosaic sitting on my fucking tablet right now? Because I went out there, I was like, you know what? It's a black character, a black team. And put my money behind it. I'm gonna at least prop them up and at least give them 4 issues. And I read the first issue, didn't like it, but I still bought. And before I turned the subscription off, still got 4 issues out.
I would like to recommend everyone not to read that book.
Yeah, do not do that. I'm sorry. I did. So it's just like I need people to understand that you have to be proactive with comics. If you want to get involved and you want to see this stuff, you need to be out there trying to read what's going on. You can't tell me you didn't know, because I know for a fact there was a ton of articles written about Black Panther and their crew. I know there was a ton of promotion when it was first announced. I remember there was a ton of stuff in the actual Black Panther current main Black Panther comic about that. You don't get to then go, oh, I didn't know. Like all of a sudden, people found out what the topics of it were. Like, oh, it was a Black Lives Matter issue. They were dealing with police brutality. It's like, well, motherfucker, if you're actually reading Marvel comic books, you would realize they're even doing that in fucking Sam Wilson. Like they're doing that all over the fucking place. You need to go out there. You need to try to read. Got to do it. You know. Pick a few here and there. You can't wait for the trade on some of these things. They'll get canceled. I remember when they canceled, was it Mockingbird? It was like, I think that one got like, 7 issues?
8, I think.
Yeah, it's not, like, look, man, this shit happens.
This is the game.
Hey, look, I heard.
Guess what? You're spinoffs of a book that doesn't sell that great.
Hey, look, letting you guys know now, and I think it came out it came out yesterday. I think David Walker's back to writing Luke Cage. Luke Cage #1, I think, came out yesterday. Go get it. Go get it. Here's the thing. If you want to know what's coming out, you then need to follow things like, don't follow their list, but CBRs are pretty good. Comic book resources, CBR.com, they're pretty good. They have really good articles on upcoming issues and news on that kind of stuff. Don't read their lists. Their lists are trash right now, but they'll let you know. That's how I know how most of the stuff is coming out. I see the articles. You follow these accounts online. You have to be proactive. If you want to know what the stuff is coming out, you need to go to the people who are going to tell you when the stuff is coming out. Got to do it. You can't just sit back and hope it falls into your lap. So that was my only thing right there. We'll talk more about comic books next week. We have our Secret Empire comic book Super Tuesday. We're gonna do the Flash first, and we'll probably do it early, and then we're going to knock out Secret Empire, which, by the way, if you haven't read Secret Empire yet, oh, boy. This is one of the ones I want to go and read all the side comics, too. Like, I have to go get that.
I'm in on all the tie-ins.
I got to go get the one with Black Widow teaching the Young Avengers. I got to read that one. Like, I need to find that one and read that because, yeah, dog. I'm so in. Like, I haven't been so excited to read all the tie-ins for an event in a long time, but I want all of the tie-ins right now, man. So, all right, guys, that's what we have it here. That was the season finale of Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. and everything else. Find us all our stuff, mtrnetwork.net. Got plenty of stuff over there. You know, also, if you want to hit us up on email us at mtrailerreviews@mtrnetwork.net. You can also find us on Super Tuesday Recap on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play Music. If you leave us a 5-star review on iTunes, we will read it on air. Yeah, folks, it's all there. We'll be back next week with a bunch of stuff for Super Tuesday. So, again, subscribe and let us know what you guys think. Until next time, we are out of here. Peace.